brand new lightsaber for the review we've all been waiting for this year. The Last Jedi, directed by Rian Johnson, and is the 8th installment of the Skywalker movies in the Star Wars saga. So The Last Jedi takes place literally immediately from where Force Awakens left off, from all the cliffhangers. Starkiller Base was destroyed, Rey meets Luke on Octu, Finn is still in a coma, and Snoke will now train Kylo Ren. So The Last Jedi tells the story of Leia and the Resistance. They are on the run with Snoke's ship and the First Order, hot in pursuit of their fleets, and Rey has finally tracked Luke down to Octu, where she hopes to convince him to be the Jedi he once was and train her in the ways of the Force. And Snoke is dissatisfied with Kylo Ren, so Kylo is trying to prove his loyalty to Snoke, and Kylo and Snoke also want Rey, as she will lead them to Luke. And I'm not going to reveal anything else about the plot because, thankfully, guys, this review will contain absolutely no spoilers. You have nothing to worry about if you haven't watched the movie yet. So I will do a spoiler review later on for those of you who have watched the movie, but those who haven't, you're safe, don't worry. I'm not going to ruin anything for you because, guys, after watching this movie, it's a trillion times better going into the movie knowing nothing about the plot than knowing everything. Because let me tell you guys, I didn't read a single review or single spoiler for this movie before. Now, not everyone will share my opinion on Force Awakens, but it's true. Force Awakens is my favourite Star Wars movie. It was a rollicking start to a potentially a great sequel trilogy. It had the balance of the old and the new. The characters, Rey, Finn, Kylo Ren, Snoke, Maz Kanata, and Poe, and Captain Phasma are my favourite Star Wars characters. It was thrilling, fun, dramatic, and had the greatest cliffhanger I've ever seen on film. A cliffhanger that we had to wait 2 years to be resolved. Oh, it was a long wait. But was it worth it? And after watching it for myself, I liked it, but I didn't love it. Extremely sorry, guys, but I believe The Last Jedi, in my honest opinion, is not as amazing as it could have been. It is the most underwhelming movie of 2017. I was rooting for it all the way to succeed, but I'm afraid the direction Rian Johnson took with it, in my opinion, was the wrong one. But don't get me wrong, this isn't going to be a negative review. I don't hate The Last Jedi. I enjoyed it. There are amazing moments in it. There are moments in it I just went, awesome! But there are other moments that made me go, seriously? What the hell? It's that kind of movie. I have extremely mixed feelings on it. It's the most different Star Wars movie I've ever seen. Half of it was good different and half of it was bad different, if you know what I mean. But So I will discuss both the positives and negatives I have with this movie, because I'm that torn about it. I'm that mixed on it. So when I first saw it, walking out of that cinema, I was speechless. I couldn't believe by some of the decisions Rian Johnson had made with it. So I was, half of me was satisfied and half of me was furious, but the best things about The Last Jedi are the acting from especially Daisy Ridley, Mark Hamill, and Carrie Fisher. I mean, Daisy Ridley's Rey, she's a little more vulnerable in this movie than she was in Force Awakens. She still continues to be the total badass as she was, but she has to make some compelling decisions in this movie. Does she stay with Luke, or does she go to Kylo Ren and Snoke? Daisy Ridley seemed a little more confident in this movie, and Mark Hamill is truly extraordinary as Luke Skywalker. This is his best performance, the best performance of not just Luke Skywalker, but his entire career. He deserves an Oscar nomination for this performance. It captivated me, even though he wasn't satisfied by the way Luke was portrayed in the movie. Damn, he gave 110%. He gave it his all to make the performance as electrifying as it could be. And Luke's a much darker character in this movie, which is what I love. This is a man who has lost everything, been through shit. His nephew, he lost his nephew to the dark side. He's literally gone to Octu to die. He's lost all hope. And the scenes between him and Rey on Octu, in my opinion, were the best in the entire movie. They were by far the most compelling. Seeing Rey trying to convince Luke to return to the hopeful Jedi he once was. And Carrie Fisher as Leia, she's wonderful in this movie, and she has a much bigger role this time round than she did in Force Awakens, and she's having to deal with some serious shit. She's lost her husband, and her son's still on the dark side. She proves to be, the leader that the Resistance deserve. They just Carrie Fisher as Leia, she is wonderful in this movie. Even she is having to go through some serious shit. She's just lost her husband, and her son's still on the dark side. And so Carrie Fisher gives the most emotional performance of her entire career. Both Carrie and Mark Hamill give their best performances in Luke and Leia in the entire Star Wars franchise here. And Adam Driver's Kylo Ren also has to make some dramatic decisions in this movie. I mean, he's having to deal with failing Snoke from the last movie, and he has to deal with the dilemma: does he stay loyal to Snoke, or does he side with Rey? You see some conflict with him and potential to turn to the light. Whether his character arc was executed perfectly is another story, but we'll get to that in the negatives. And the Porgs are adorable. They are the cutest things in Star Wars ever. I love them so much. I want a Porg for Christmas. This is my Porg right here. He's my pal. Now, I'm afraid, guys, let's get to my negatives and what underwhelmed me to the core about this movie. Let's discuss the character of Snoke, because Snoke is awesome in this movie. The two sequences that he has in his throne room are amazing. Some of the best scenes in the movie, and I'm like, why can't we have more of Snoke? Why can't we spend more time with him? There's hardly any of him in this movie, considering how they were building him up to be the greatest Star Wars villain ever from Force Awakens. J.J. Abrams set up the mystery: who is Snoke, and how did he form the First Order? What's his relationship with Kylo Ren, and who are the Knights of Ren? You'd think this character would be given justice in this movie, and we'd get far more screen time with him. But even he, in this movie, hardly does anything and ultimately amounts to nothing. They do something with him towards the end of the movie that pissed me the fuck off, and I'm not going to spoil what it is, but you know what it is when you see it. So, what they did with Snoke, was the biggest disappointment with this movie. And Captain Phasma also. I love Captain Phasma. I'm one of the few people that defend her. But in this movie, she gets one scene. Don't get me wrong. Her fight with Finn is badass. But that's it. That's all we get of her. And I just she's an awesome character. Please, Ryan, give her the screen time she deserves. And the side story, the subplots with Finn and Rose, in my opinion, took up far too much screen time of the movie's runtime, and it honestly didn't need to be in the film. It ultimately led to nothing, and it served no purpose. When Finn and Rose go to this casino planet Canto Bight, and they rescue these space horses to recruit a gambler who helps them infiltrate the First Order, it ultimately leads to nothing in the end and is rendered as pointless. So why even spend like half an hour on it? And if you were excited for Snoke and Kylo Ren's training scenes, you ain't going to get them, because Snoke and Kylo Ren never have any training scenes in the entire film. I'm not lying. I was in shock to see the absence of Snoke and Kylo Ren's training scenes, even though Snoke was like at the end of Force Awakens, "Leave the base at once and come to me with Kylo Ren. It is time to complete his training." Well, Snoke, you don't exactly get to train him, do you? You just sit on your throne and don't do anything. Oh, I'm like, why are we spending this much time with Finn and Rose on Casino World when we could have been spending more time with Snoke and Kylo Ren, training with the awesome Praetorian guards? Yeah, you see what I mean? This movie, it doesn't deliver everything you wanted or hoped to see. It focuses more on the stuff you didn't want to see for some reason. And the ending of this movie, it sucked. I hated the ending. It pissed me off. It was not the right ending for this movie. It was messily handled. Rian Johnson he didn't. What was he on when he wrote that ending? I mean, he wanted to go unexpected, but I guess he just went unexpected for the sake of it, just for the shock value. He went too unpredictable. So the movie just lost focus in the third act. It super did, and it rendered the First Doors as weak villains when they were established as the greatest threat the galaxy had ever faced in Force Awakens. I just lost interest in the third act after the stupid decisions that Ryan made. This movie, it's the longest Star Wars movie to date, with a 2 hour and 30-minute runtime, and the movie's length, it didn't feel justified, especially in the middle. It had severe pacing issues. See it if you want, you'll like it fine, but I'd recommend lowering your expectations.
I give Star Wars The Last Jedi 3.5 stars out of 5.
In my spoiler talk, I will discuss and show you guys what I felt the movie should have been, what I wanted to see in it. So that should be fun. I'm sorry this review sounded more negative than you guys wanted it to, but not every movie is going to live up to expectation in life, is it? So this is the one movie this year I feel bad about not giving 5 stars out of 5. But film is subjective, as they say. Well, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And please don't judge me. Please don't give me hate comments. If you love this movie, props to you. And what do you think of The Last Jedi? I cannot wait to hear what you guys have to say about this movie. Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter and on Google Plus and on Instagram. And I'll see you next time when I rank the Star Wars movies from best to worst. And remember, movies are us. Bye, guys.